Hey, good morning. Welcome to Daily AvWX, your aviation weather for the continental United States. And we are going to be breaking that down into Eastern, into Central, Mountain, and Pacific. There'll be separate videos on those. And we're going to start with the East Coast today. So looking at the East Coast here, we are looking at the service analysis. And from what we can see here, we got high pressure up here, stationed up in Canada and Quebec, province of Quebec, and it's looking pretty decent for you up there, as you can see. But as we move down into the United States, down through Maine, we've got a low pressure system parked right off the coast of Maine. I can imagine that's going to bring a little bit of fun for the people of Maine. And then we've got this stationary quasi-cold front, but stationary front stretching all the way back through to another low, which is stretching back further here into Missouri. So we're looking at some lousy weather along this area right here. We'll see how far north or south of that you got to go to get some decent weather. Overall out there, the picture's looking a little bit grim for you VFR flyers. So for IFR, probably has some icing concerns. We'll get into that in a moment. Stretching on down through the mid-Atlantic states, we've got a low pressure system here with a stationary front stretching out over the Atlantic to another low there. Cold front down through Georgia, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama. And for Florida, well, we'll see what there's in store for Florida here. So moving on, let's take a look at Sky Vector, and that will give us a little bit of an overview. And as you can see, we've got lousy weather all through, really coming down through Maine. Some of that might be due to the morning effect. In fact, we've got one little area of Millinocket here is 6 miles missed, few at 3,900, so they are basically considered VFR. But with that 6 miles visibility, that is low visibility depending on your experience level. Wouldn't just go poking out there and jumping into it. Looking on over here is just a weather station there, and we got somewhat VFR here over here in Bangor, known for its weather. Let's get rid of that. And so over in Bangor, they're calling for, let's look at the TAF down below. And I tell you what, this is no fun here. Let's go over here again, get rid of that, and position the mouse. So as you can see, we've got on the 31st, 0900, so that was about 4 o'clock this morning. They were calling for no winds, 5 miles and mist, and overcast 400. There's your low IFR situation. There's what that would be. Supposed to improve a little bit by 11 o'clock in the morning. It's supposed to be variable at 3, greater than 6, and overcast 1500. So marginal is what they're saying. They're saying visibility is greater than 6. Whenever you see that P in front of the visibility on the TAF or the Terminal Aerodrome Forecast, you are going to know that it is greater than. And we're to look at basically at 7 o'clock tonight, no winds, 5 miles and mist. So vicinity showers, overcast 800. Marginal at best up in the Maine Bangor area. And as you can see, stretching down, we've got lots of IFR down here. I'm going to bring it on down to, let's take a look at Boston here. And they're forecasting really no better than 5 miles, and they're forecasting no better than overcast 800. And these came out 31 minutes ago, so these are fairly recent. Can't always believe exactly what the TAF is going to say, but I think we can count on pretty lousy weather. I hope you didn't have lessons or anything else scheduled at that time out in the area. As you can see, we've got low IFR in Chicopee and half statute mile visibility. Moving on down the coast, we've got a few TFRs here. I believe this one's Wilmington, Delaware. And it's the holidays, and the president wants to be home, obviously. So if you live in the Wilmington, Delaware area or in the surrounding vicinity, you can count on a lot of TFR. I think you're aware of that already. Again, lots of lousy weather here. They are calling for it to get a little bit better with just scattered 1500, broken 35. Might be good for some pattern work possibly in that area. Again, check the weather yourself. This is not A legal weather briefing. This is for entertainment purposes only. Moving on down to Richmond, we're looking again. Very low IFR right now. They're projecting later. Let's see. Well, they're going to get up to greater than 6 by 11 o'clock in the morning and 2,000 broken. It's supposed to get a little bit better by... actually, I'm sorry. I'm looking at the times wrong here. My apologies. Looking down there at the 1800 Zulu, that'd be 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Winds out of the south at 7 with greater than 6 broken 10,000. So those conditions are looking pretty good there by 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I'd be thinking about doing a little bit of flying. But you might not be able to get too far away from that airport. Depends on what the conditions are going to be in a few other places. Greensboro here. Looking at, well, basically from the 31st at 1500, so about 10 o'clock in the morning. That's not looking too bad either, actually. So you might have a few sections of some VFR flying. Looking west here over in Kentucky, and just about is in the same time zone. Eastern time zone here, so we'll cover it here. Is wow, they're broken 12,000, looking pretty good. 10 miles. As you know, that 10 miles is not necessarily just 10 miles. It could be greater than, but the automated machines only report up to 10 miles visibility. The way they measure it in a glass tube and the particulates and all that good stuff. It's not like the old days when somebody took a pair of binoculars from their control tower and identified maybe a hill or a mountain that was 40 miles away and said, we've got 40 miles visibility. So generally, you're never going to see anything greater than 10 miles visibility on a report, but that doesn't mean it's just 10 miles. Alrighty, moving on. Let's get back zoomed in here and looking down. So again, in this little pocket, we've got some decent weather. Obviously, they're talking about some icing. Let's look at here. It's moderate icing between the freezing level and flight level 210 or 21,000. They're calling for the freezing level to be from 9,000 to 12,000. So if you're staying under 9,000, shouldn't have a problem with icing. Also, if you're in clear air, normally you're not going to see any icing, no visible precipitation. Moving on further, looks like in this veil, time of 1500 through 2100 Zulu, which is probably when most of you might be flying, freezing level 8,000 to 11,000. So they're calling for that. Again, I'm covering quickly here. I don't want to take a lot of time. I don't like long videos, so I'm going to try to be less wordy here. Looking down through, again, lots of IFR, especially down the East Coast areas. You have a few pockets here of VFR, but boy, it doesn't look like it's going to stay VFR for long. It's going to go down to 2 miles in mist here. Looking further ahead there at 1400 Zulu, about 9 o'clock in the morning, greater than 6 broken 12,000. That looks pretty good, actually. Change my tune on that. And let's see, looks like winds are generally out of the east, but let's double check up here in the layers. And if we look up in the layers, we've got that set at, I've got that at 3200. Let's take that to the surface so we can see it at the surface. Sounds like a plan. And let's get rid of the layers. Alrighty. So now, as you can see, winds are still generally the east or east-southeast, depending on where you are. On landfall, 10 to 15 out of the east. So obviously some pockets where you've got frictional deceleration from hills, mountains, you name it, that are going to change the direction a little bit in your local area. Again, get your own briefing. This is just to sit down with a cup of coffee and see what's going on generally in the weather, and it is for entertainment purposes only. I know I already said that, but I'm going to say it again. And looking down through here, we got some quarter mile, stagic mile, and fog. That might change through the day as temperatures tend to warm up in these areas. Let's see if we can find one with a TAF. Brunswick, which I believe that is, I'm not sure if that's a naval station or not. I think I'm thinking of another place. So looking down through by 9 o'clock this morning, or 10 o'clock this morning, we are looking at greater than 6 broken 1,000, overcast 2,000. So that's generally supposed to get better in that area. And looking at noon, we're looking at greater than 6, scattered 1,500, broken 3,000. Not terrible, just be careful that scatter layer could become broken and become IFR. And that's supposed to generally improve up there by 2 o'clock in the afternoon, greater than 6, scattered 5,000. And this was just 28 minutes ago that this forecast came out, and then broken 25,000. So that looks generally decent there along the coast down in, I'm going to guess, Georgia. Don't think I'm too far off on that one. South Carolina is just up here. Well, that's Savannah, so that's still Georgia. All right, again, I'm looking from far out here. And we got this little dot here. I want to see what this TFR is about. For a football game, Wake Forest, those usually just go up to 3,000 AGL. Remember, that's above ground level, not MSL, so it's going to be higher than you might think. Keep that in mind. So, a little college football action. What is that, a bowl game? It's Wake Forest at Rutgers. It's got to be a bowl game because they wouldn't be playing down there otherwise. Let's see here. So there's Jacksonville. That came out 38 minutes ago, broken 1,500. Let's look ahead to about 1 o'clock in the, or 12 o'clock in the afternoon. We're looking at winds 220 at 8, greater than 6, scattered 3,000, broken 6,000. Generally looking passable. I don't know if you'll be doing any cross countries this day, but it is passable. Obviously some pockets there. I think as we generally go south in Florida, you'd think it would get better here. We're going to zoom out just a little bit. Sorry for the slow load this morning here. And find something with a TAF. Here we go. Leesburg. So looking in central Florida here. Leesburg, we're looking at a quarter mile in the fog right now. So it's pretty bad right now. But looking ahead to, let's jump up to about 11 o'clock this morning. We are looking at winds again out of the southwest at 8 knots and greater than 6, scattered 4,000. So passable. And don't forget about the Disney World TFR right down here. Let's move further south in Florida. Down at Fort Myers. Looks like weather will not be the greatest down there. I mean, it's going to be marginal VFR at best from what I can see. I mean, it's scattered, so you could make the argument that it's going to be VFR because scattered is not a ceiling. I understand that. But again, few become scattered. Scattered become broken, and broken becomes overcast. So keep that in mind. And, it is going to go down at about 1 o'clock in the morning. Not that any of you might be out there flying, depends on what you do for a living, but that's the New Year's Eve. I would think most people are off. Variable 3 knots, 1 mile visibility and mist, so it's going to go down at Fort Myers late tonight into early tomorrow morning. All right, not to forget the rest of the southern states here in the eastern time zone. And I don't know exactly where the time zone actually cuts off. I'm kind of guesstimating by maps I've seen before. So looking up along the Gulf Coast here, we are looking at, that's Tyndall Air Force Base, and they don't have a TAF. Panama City. Let's go with Panama City, Florida here. Looks like it's going to become, let's take a look at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Should be up to 6 miles mist. Showers in the vicinity, scattered 8, broken 15. Not the greatest. Looks like conditions will probably stay the same or get a little bit worse looking throughout that time period. Looking just a little further, I guess we'll take a look into Alabama. That's about where I'm going to cut it off. So there's Mobile, Alabama. Right now, obviously, is showing IFR, but looking ahead, by about 11 o'clock this morning, 4 miles in mist, broken 7. So they're calling for it to stay IFR through that time period. And if we move on to about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 2000 Zulu here, it is 190 at 11 knots, greater than 6, broken 25,000, or 5,000, broken 25,000. So it will generally improve and then go back down again at about 10 o'clock tonight to a half mile in fog. I have a feeling that's kind of normal for this area to have fog in the early morning or late night hours. So not a night to be getting in your night flight requirements for your private pilot's license, if that's what you're doing here, if you're one of the students. By the way, all pilots are welcome to this channel, and non-pilots that are interested in both weather and possibly someday getting their certificate. Just a little bit about myself. I am not a meteorologist. I am a CFII. And enjoy looking at the weather, and so I thought, why not just share that? Didn't see anybody out there doing a morning go get your cup of coffee, sit on the couch, and see what's going on in the aviation weather world. So that's what the channel's for, and this is the first broadcast, so we're going to work on that, and should be bringing a great product to you here in the next year. All right. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to subscribe and smash that like button. Do appreciate it, and we will check you later.